Reading with your kids.
Hey, so great to see you. Come on in. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We're coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts, in the shadow of the great Blue Hills. We are so delighted that you're part of our beautiful Reading with Your Kids family. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Ghana, Himalaya, wherever you find your podcast. We are delighted that you're part of our beautiful family that is committed to helping families grow closer together through reading. We're really excited today. Our guest today is Fernanda Lazzaro. She'll be here to celebrate the Tillsonbugger Adventures, the case of the missing mustache. Before we invite Fernanda into the studio, we want to remind you that you are most cordially invited to enter our ginormous book giveaway. We are giving away over 20 books to one lucky family. Talk about expanding your family library. And these are fantastic books that your kids are going to love, and they can last your child throughout their school years. We are giving away picture books, chapter books, and middle grade novels. Just something for everyone, and something that can last your child all the way through their school years. Check it out today. You just need to enter. It's really simple. Just go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Reading with Your Kids. Find our ginormous book giveaway announcement. Liking the post is one entry. You get one entry. Liking and sharing the post, you get 2 entries. Do you want to supersize your chances of winning? It's really easy. If you're listening to this show today, it's like wicked easy. All you need to do is to get a screenshot showing that you have subscribed to the show. Chances are you've subscribed to the show already on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple, the iHeartRadio app, anywhere. Get that screenshot, post it on social media. Twitter, tag @JedleyMagic. On Facebook, tag Reading with Your Kids or Jedley. Tag on Instagram @Reading with Your Kids. You'll get 10 entries for posting that picture and tagging us. Really, I wish we could give 20 books to everyone, but we can't. We can only give it to one lucky family, and we hope it's yours. It's the Reading with Your Kids ginormous book giveaway. Joining us right now from Toronto and Ontario in the beautiful nation of Canada. Our guest is the author of the Tillsonbugger Adventures. Please welcome to the show, Fernanda Lazzaro. Fernanda, how are you?
Thank you, Jed. I'm really good. Thank you. It's a beautiful day in Toronto. It's sunny. It's a little cold, but I like the cold.
Yeah.
So, yeah, things are good.
It's. I think we have a similar weather pattern here in Boston. It's a bright, sunny day. My beautiful wife and I just returned from taking our beast for a stroll around the neighborhood, and it's wonderful just to be able, even though we're in various stages of lockdown and protecting each other and keeping each other safe. It's still nice to be able to get outside and enjoy the sun, feel that sun on your body.
Yeah, exactly. I do tend to go for a little walk later on. I know it's a little cold, but if you dress for it, it's fine.
Yeah. So I'm excited to learn about the Tillsonbugger Adventures, especially the first story, The Case of the Missing Mustache.
Yes, that's actually so that's the second book in the series. So The Case of the Missing Mustache, about a centipede. And it's just the stories. They're about 3 kids. 2 are twins, but the 3 of them, Tia, Phil, and Vivian, they're best friends. So they just have a summer break, they're out having fun, and they just tend to always fall into mischief, and which involves a bug. Hence the Tillsonbugger Adventures. You know, they're little buggers. Mm-hmm. Tillsonbug is the name of the town, and then they always run into a bug, and then they learn about the importance of that particular bug in the story.
Yeah, I like how you said that, because I'll be honest, it wasn't until relatively recently that I started to appreciate the importance, that the fact that bugs have a role to play in our ecology more than just being annoying to us.
Exactly, and that's how it actually started, was with the first story, The Swarm That Swarmed, which is about bees. So people, and it's understandable, they have a fear of bees because they sting, or they can sting. It's normally wasps that are the ones that hover around our food and our picnic. Bees tend to leave us alone because they just want the flowers. But if they feel threatened, they will sting. So that's pretty much how that book started, because my bees swarmed and the neighbors freaked out a bit. And and then I realized, well, bugs are so important. I know they're annoying and they're creepy, but they really do serve a purpose. And without them, like, the balance can be off, it can be tipped. So all these little critters, definitely do serve a purpose. And that's what the kids learn in each story, is what their purpose is. Doesn't mean their fear is gone, but they understand their purpose.
Now, what is your background? Did you study the science of bugs in college, or are you coming at it from a kid-centered view?
Yeah, I actually did not study. I studied political science, but
there's a lot of insects in politics these days. So
right, exactly. But no, I did study about beekeeping. I did study that, and when I was a child, I was very interested in bugs. There's a funny story where I collected a bunch of worms and I stuck them in my little Tic Tac container. I had a fascination with boxes. So I stuck them in there and I'm like, oh, these are my little pets, and I brought them to my room, and it was nighttime, and I heard my mother coming up the stairs, and I thought, oh, I've got to hide my worms. So I stuck them under my pillow in the Tic Tac container. I fell asleep forgetting about them, and they were like, the morning when my mother came to, they're all over under my pillow, of course. But, no, I've found them interesting. I used to play with them as a child, or I used to dig up in mud, but I had a fear. I did have a fear of spiders and of centipedes. So I understand that there is a fear of them, and that's so I never understood the fear of bees, because I do like them, but I don't have a fear of bees, but I could understand where people were coming from, because I have a fear of all these other bugs. And they're so small, but, we tend to still be fearful of them for some reason. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So that's what that came about.
So how did you make the jump from political scientist to children's author?
Well, I actually wrote. So for my university paper, I wrote articles, and then I just freelanced here and there with an Italian newspaper. And I also started working at Rogers Television, which was just a local TV station. So I did that for about 10 years. It was all volunteer, but I was very committed. Every week I did a story. So I have a background of writing, and I became a news writer. So after I graduated, I also studied broadcast journalism. So I was a news writer for a bit. But I've always wanted to do creative writing. So I thought that was a great opportunity to kind of, take my background of writing and merge it with my love of bees. And then it was I just figured, I just write this one story, have fun with it. But then I had so much fun with that, and I got good feedback. So I thought, what, maybe the kids have another adventure. And I did the second book, and I'm working on the third book right now.
It seems like it's turned into a real kind of passion for you. And one of the other things that I noticed on your website, this is really a team effort.
Yes, it is, exactly. So I found a wonderful illustrator, fantastic. She was actually a graduate of a local college, and I just wanted something, and I love all the storybooks out there. They're colorful. But she had this. She works with watercolor, and I thought, wow, that's really nice, because it's still colorful yet muted, and it had just a wonderful calming feeling when you do look at the books. And my boyfriend, who is a poet, so I asked him to write the introductory poem to the story. So when you open it, rather than saying, like, acknowledge so and so, like, I don't have an acknowledgement in my books, but I have a little poem, and he just writes a funny little blurb about whatever is going to happen, and then right into the story it goes. So it's just a fun team effort for sure. Yeah.
How is it that you said it was a fun team effort? It's you enjoy kind of bringing the team together and leading them into the creation of these books?
Yeah, but you know what? But I do, but at the same time, they lead me. So they help me as well. So I'll write the story and then, I'll kind of figure out how I'd like the pages to be laid out, and I'll send the manuscript to the illustrator. And I tell her, okay, I'd like to see this and this and this, but then she'll come back and be like, what about this? Because she has the illustrator eye, I don't. So of course I would take her lead on that. So I can make suggestions, but it's at the end of the day, it's really how she envisions it, because she is the artist. And again, with my boyfriend, who's the poet in this, same thing. I'll just kind of be like, I'd like to have this idea, but he's creating the poetry. You can't tell someone how to be creative. Mm-hmm. So, he'll just come up with something, and it's like, yeah, you know what? I like that. It's fun. It's happy, yeah.
So we should acknowledge and let folks know their names. So we're just not going online looking for Fernanda's boyfriend.
Yes. So Kizan is the illustrator, and Mike Gallick is the poet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Now, it makes sense learning a little bit about your background and learning that you were did some beekeeping or studied beekeeping as a kid. So it makes sense that you have that connection with bees for the first story. What's your connection with centipedes, and what are we going to learn about centipedes in the case of the missing mustache?
That I'm scared to death of them. That's how that came about. I'm thinking, okay, what bug? And I'm not writing about spiders, because spiders are my phobia. So I will not research them. I will not look them up on the computer. It was enough I had to research centipedes, because they keep popping up on my screen now, and on huge and enlarged. So I just thought, what bug isn't obvious or fun? I mean, obvious, yes. A lot of people are afraid of centipedes. But bees, they could be cute. You can draw them really cute, cutesy, whatever. But centipedes are just creepy. All like just the entire thought of them creeps me out. So I just thought, what? I wanted to do a story where they're indoors. So the first one, the swarm that swarmed, they're outdoors. And then I wanted to bring them indoors for the second book. And because it's raining outside, so we thought, okay, let's have some fun. What kind of mischief can they cause inside the house? And they do cause a lot of terror inside the house, especially after they see this centipede. And and then they kind of get their hands on an encyclopedia, and they do some research, realizing, a centipede isn't really an insect. It's under the shrimp family, apparently. And it's like, okay, yeah, we're still scared, but, we'll respect them. They eat all the little critters in our homes, like the mites and the smaller spiders and all that. So they're kind of like the little insect vacuum. Mm. So, yeah.
Well, I don't mean to terrify you, but I have a little spider story.
Oh God!
Here in our studio here is in our basement, and it's all finished and beautiful. And we also have our guest room here, and we've hosted international students in our home for many years. And one year we had a wonderful young woman from China living with us, and really became a great part of our family. And when she was leaving and actually moving on to university, I was driving her to move her into the university, and I said, "Hey, what can we do to make the living space more attractive for the next student?" And she said, "Well, you might want to get rid of the spider." And he goes, "Spider? There's a spider. Why didn't you tell me there was a spider in your room?" And she said, "Well, I love him. He's great. He was my pet, but the next person might not." So the spider is now in the studio, and I get to watch him walk across. Oh no, he's adorable, and he actually came in really, really handy. He one of the entrances that goes out directly into our garden. Some wasps decided to make their nest right outside of that entrance. And we didn't know it, and we walked out one day, and we all got stung. But the wasps came into the house, but our friend the spider took care of them all, caught them in his web, and they're all gone now.
How big is this spider?
It's not too big, but he had a very extensive network around that door. We don't use it that often. So. And now everybody's thinking that I just have this creepy studio with spider webs and spiders and dead wasps hanging around.
No, they do serve a purpose. And actually, in both books, they make an appearance. There is in the first book, they sort of comment, like little Vivian says, oh, bees aren't as creepy as as spiders, like those insects type of thing. And then you see a little spider saying, hey, I'm not an insect, I'm an arachnid or whatever. So they do but I'm getting this information from Mike. He gives me the research, like he knows, like I don't search anything on my computer to do with spiders. And then the second book, I forget, or something like, oh, what did I ever do to you? Because Vivian, she has a fear of them in the story. So that type of thing. So they do make an appearance. Maybe the very last book in the series will be the spider, just to kind of wrap things up. But I'll make Mike do all the research and probably even write the book. And I'll be the poet in that one there.
So you said that the third book is in the works right now. What insect are we going to meet in the third book?
Well, it's called The Alien in the Apple Tree. So I don't know if I can give it away yet.
I get some ideas here, Mike. We'll tease. How many books are you envisioning in the series?
To be honest, I really would love to write novels. Yeah, and so I'm finding this is, writing children's books is so difficult. It's actually, I find it really challenging. You have to be succinct. You have to write in a certain language that I don't understand. So, I'll write my story, I'll clean it up, goes to the editors, and then they kind of, help me. They why not say it like this? You're reading to an audience of, 7 to 11 or whatever. It's a young audience. So they'll make the suggestion. So I do find it difficult to write for children. It's getting a little easier as I continue writing and the editors give me sort of feedback. But I'd almost I see maybe 5 books in the series, maybe ending it with the spiders. I think that actually makes sense, especially since the spider makes an appearance in all the books. But my goal is really just to write longer, just a novel and for adults, like mysteries and things like that. So, I'm working on a manuscript now. I actually have about 5 chapters done. So I'm kind of juggling between the two. Mm-hmm. So the third manuscript in the Tillsonbugger Adventures series, I'm wrapping that up. So I'm just kind of figuring out between a couple of conclusions, and then I'll be working with the illustrator next year, kind of putting that together. I delayed that a little bit just because of everything that happened. I was busy with work and kind of, my creativity was kind of missing, but it's back.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. Mention the difficulty of writing a children's book. I've heard a lot of authors of novels, best-selling authors, kind of poo-poo and children's books and how easy it is to write a book with 600 or 700 words. But it is challenging. It is not easy in any way.
And that's it. So that's why I actually relabeled the books as short stories, because they are. So they're up to 2,000 words.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I made them longer. And really, for the first book, the goal was really to get the parents to read the book. Mm-hmm. So, because I find children they're educated in school. They know about bees. They understand more than their parents do, I think, and because they grow up learning the importance of the environment. We didn't as children. Something we had to kind of learn and figure out what we're doing to this world. So it was sort of my little scheme to be like, okay, let's make it fun for the kids so the pictures are nice, but maybe a little more challenging maybe for a 7-year-old to read. So the parent has to read to the child. So it's one of those where, it's a nice book for an adult to read to the children, but they're learning at the same time. Mm-hmm. So they are a little longer. It's like probably over a 2-night, let's read a couple of pages. So, but even that, 2,000 words fitting an entire story, you're building character. This is a lot about the characters. It's not, and the thing is, it's funny because as I learn more about writing and creativity, I would change the first book a little bit. You know, I would make some changes to be like, okay, I didn't have to do such a big intro. I could have included that in the story as I do now. It's a good exercise for me to learn and then to write longer stories eventually. Yeah. Good starting ground for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's, isn't it amazing when you finish college and you are out in the real world and you think, I got that piece of paper. I know everything I need to know. And then you discover, gee, I'm just kind of starting.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's the joy of staying young, is always being curious. There's always something to learn. And that's what I love, is I'll take courses. You know, I do take writing courses. I still try to keep up, and that way, and I joined a book club, so it forces me to read, you know, a book, at least one book a month, because every month we discuss the book and then the, you know, books that I want to read on the side. But it forces me to read books I wouldn't normally read, you know, again. But learning really does keep you young, and that helps with the series, because I put myself, as you said before, in that sort of child space, you know, and I still remember, you know, I have little nephews, and I remember being young, so I still have that sort of mentality, you know. Would I call it immaturity? I don't know, but I can tap into that little girl. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, beautiful. And just one last question. I'm wondering about the characters, a set of twins and their buddy.
Yeah.
That offers up all sorts of interesting relationship dynamics, I'm imagining.
It does, and it was tough at first to figure out. See, I had to actually go to my own friendships and my relationship with my brother. And I thought, okay, it would be kind of fun, because my brother and I were that kind of, you know, we're so opposite and yet inseparable in a way, you know. So I thought, you know, it would be fun, making them twins, because I needed them to be the same age. Mm-hmm. And then their buddy, Tia, who is very proper, you know, she's a proper, and was exactly like my girlfriend Val, who is, I imagine Val is a little girl, because she's like that now. She's like very type A, you know. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, this is what Val would look like as a little girl. But then I put her in these situations where it's like, I'm going to get dirty and messy, and my hair won't, you know. So it just, again, it's as much as you learn about bugs, you're learning about friendship, you learn about, you know, exploring and be curious. And it's not, you don't always have to be perfect. You know, let's just have fun, and they do have fun, a lot of fun in the end. Yeah.
And I love in the stories that the kids are facing this thing that they're fearful, and their response is to learn about it instead of hate it or run away from it.
Yeah, I mean, which is probably unrealistic. I don't know how many kids would, but I just thought, again, teaching them the lesson that when you understand something, the fear tends to go away. A little bit, you know, and it actually happened to me. So I'm able now. I don't run away when I see a centipede. I would run and scream and, you know, call for anybody to come and help me. But now I'm like, okay, you know what? No, I'm going to let it be. If it's really bothering me, I'll just get a vacuum. I have those vacuums where, you know, you just empty the thing, mm-hmm. vacuum, and then I just bring it outside. So it's like, okay, I'm still coping. I don't like it right beside my head, you know, when you go to the washroom and it's like right there. No, but so I understand by me doing that research, I myself started to lose my fear. I respect them. I let them live their thing. They're doing their thing, and they're serving their purpose. But yeah.
I imagine too, a family can sit down, as you're saying, this could be, you know, a 2 or 3 night experience for a family. It's a great way to kind of, expand beyond just the bug world and just look into our own lives, especially now that our world is getting smaller. It's becoming much more diverse. We're becoming aware of the diversity, and we're really needing our kids to celebrate the diversity and understand it. And so, yes, you've heard these, you know, here's somebody who's in a different culture. They're speaking a different language. You might have heard things said about them that makes you nervous or fearful. The idea is not to run away, not to be afraid. Let's get to know this person, this culture, and see how they can benefit us.
Exactly. And that's just it. Because what is fear? Is just not knowing. Mm-hmm. But once you start to understand, it's like we're actually not different at all. Okay, well, I like to eat pasta. You like to eat, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's like at the end of the day, we're just all, we're here for something, and if we respect one another, it just makes life so much easier. I'm not in anyone's space. No one is bothering me by existing. Right? And again, just with the bugs, same thing. They exist. They're here for a reason. Let's learn why and respect that and let them kind of do their job,
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And for the record, I like pasta too.
Oh, good.
Hey, Fernanda, where can people go to learn more about you and learn more about the Tillsonbugger Adventures?
I only have a website, so Tillsonbugger.com. I tried social media. I really did. I think I've attempted Twitter like 3 times. So maybe one day I'll try social media again. So I just do my website, and I'm going to start writing my blogs again. I kind of just I wrote my 3 blogs and left it at that, but I think it's good even for myself to keep writing, even if it's just some frivolous blog. So, so that's where you can find me, Tillsonbugger.com.
Awesome. We've had a great time speaking to the author of the Tillsonbugger Adventures, Fernanda Lazzaro. Fernanda, thanks so much for being with us.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Kennedy Reynolds. She'll be here to tell us about the Acorn app. The Acorn app is a really neat thing, great way to help your kids develop a sense of financial literacy. And that's really important. And the time to start teaching your kids about finances, it's now. You say your kid's 3 years old, it's now. Now. So check it out. The next episode, Kennedy Reynolds will be here. Hey, if you are the author of a fantastic children's book, you may be frustrated by the fact that it's really hard to let the world know about your book and to really get it out there. Well, we have something. It's called the Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read Program. It's really helped a lot of authors help their books stand out from the crowd of books that are published every single month. Do you understand that there are thousands of books published every single month? Not every year, not every decade, every month. There are thousands of books published every single month. And it's really difficult for a book to stand out amongst that crowd. So the Certified Great Read Program, if our panel believes that your book is worthy of 4 or 5 out of 5 stars, it becomes a Certified Great Read. And with that status comes a whole lot of really useful tools that, like I said, can help your book stand out. Give families a sense that your book is worthy of their attention. Check it out today. Go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the author tab at the top of the page. Scroll on down to where it says Certified Great Reads. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so very wonderful. Of course, want to thank our guest, Fernanda Lazzaro. Be sure to check out the Tillsonbugger Adventures. Also want to thank my team, Alejandra Doherty, Fatima Khan. Want to thank my 2 amazing interns, Alexia Brown, Hannah Pat Oboyski. Want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me, but most of all, I want to thank you. This has been a really, really difficult year for so many of us, but especially for parents. Thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for being your kids' teacher, their best friend, their cook, their chef. Thank you for reading with them. Because the time you spend reading with your kids, it's making the world a better place. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.